This is the plaintiff, Samuel Pantiliano. He says his car overheated. He brought it to the defendant's shop for repair, and 10 minutes after he paid the guy to fix it, it overheated again. He brought it back 2 more times, finally got stuck on the highway for 3 hours because it overheated a 3rd time, and finally had it towed to another mechanic. The other mechanic took a look and discovered the defendant had installed a thermostat backwards, which caused the entire engine to blow. Some mechanic. He's suing for $3,000 for additional repairs. This is the defendant, Casimir Babula. He says he's been working on cars since 1966, and there's no way in the world he would put a thermostat in backwards. The money the plaintiff paid to another mechanic is between them. He's not responsible because things break every day on cars. He owes nothing. He's accused of causing things to overheat.
All parties, please raise your right hand. You see, they come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Samuel Pantiliano?
Yes.
You are suing Casimir Babula. You are the owner of the business. He's suing your business, but you don't want your business name mentioned. For $3,000 that you say you are out as a result of an improper repair you say he did. Tell me what happened here.
My wife and I, we visited my daughter in West Milford, New Jersey. So we arrived there, and I drove up our driveway, and I noticed that my temperature gauge was moving past the normal, which is in the center. And I'd never done that before, but I checked it out.
And what year car is this?
It's a 2006 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo.
Okay.
So I noticed it was getting hot. I was in her driveway. I shut the car off, and I said, well, this has to be checked by a mechanic. So I asked my daughter, do you know anybody in town that's a mechanic? She says, no. But she says, I'm going to go next door and ask my neighbor. The neighbor came over. He told me where to go. The car was cooled down. I started it up. My daughter followed me to his garage. I got there around 10 to 5. The gas station attendant told me that the mechanic had just left at 5 o'clock.
All right, so the next day you talked to him, and what happened?
The next morning at 8 o'clock, my daughter drove me to his garage, and I met him, and I talked to him. He wanted to know what was wrong. I told him my car is overheating. He says, well, leave it, and I'll give you a call. I'll check it out.
So when he calls you, when does he call you?
2, 3 hours.
And tells you what?
He says, I just changed the thermostat. Come pick up your car. It's ready.
And you paid him how much? The $206?
$200.06.
All right, so then you take the car, and what happens?
10 minutes away from his garage, the car overheated. I pulled over to the side. I waited, and the police came. I explained to the police, and she says, okay. But I said, I'm going to turn around and go back to the garage. But a neighbor came out, and he put some water in my radiator so I can turn around and go back to the garage. And that's exactly what I did.
And when you brought the car back to him, what did he say?
Well, he says, leave it, and I'll check it out, and I'll give you a call.
Okay. So he calls you, and he tells you he changed the what?
The water pump. I said, okay, if that's what it needs. And I didn't know this. He never told me he was going to do that.
Did he charge you for it?
Actually, no.
Okay.
He said to me at that time, I'm going to take the car out for a road test. I said, you mind if I come with you? He says, no. So I went with him.
So you take it out.
So we take it out for a road test. Now he sees that the gauge went all the way over to the hot position again. So he brought it back to the garage, lifted the hood up. So he checked the engine out, he checked the hoses out, he checked everything under that hood. And he told me that everything is normal. But how come the needle is registering hot? He goes, that needle is probably wrong. But the engine was running, idling. I saw no steam coming out of it. He's checking it all, and I said to him, you know, I want to go home. Is it okay for me to drive another 2 hours to Pennsylvania? He said, it's fine. It's okay. So my wife and I get in the car. My daughter goes home. I get on my way, and before I know it, my engine light comes on. I pull over, shut the car off. I waited till the cool down. Maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. I tried to start it up. It would not start. So I said, oh, God, this is going to get dark pretty soon. I better call a tow truck and get out of here. And that's exactly what I did. I called the tow truck. They came 2.5 hours later. He tried to start the car. He said, you better not start this car. I said, okay. So he put it on the truck. drove us back to Pennsylvania, to my house.
How far away were you from Pennsylvania at that juncture?
Oh, God. About an hour,
Oh, wow.
hour. And,
What'd that tow cost you?
well, actually, I had AAA,
Oh, that's marvelous.
and it didn't cost me anything.
Right. So you take the car to a mechanic, another mechanic, when you're home.
So when I got
and
home-
can I see everything that mechanic gave you? Any estimates, any work orders, everything?
This is the receipt.
She wants a bill. Did he write any bills or estimates for
Yeah.
the judge? Okay.
Everything's
I'll
on
bring
there.
it. Okay.
Pictures, everything.
Okay.
Great. So what am I supposed to be seeing on the pictures here?
Well, Your Honor, like I say, I'm not a mechanic. I know you're not a mechanic. But
You
according
don't
to...
know that, but you're right.
Yeah, right?
So go ahead.
So according to my mechanic, he says to me, if you can see the spring after taking off the housing that covers the thermostat
The thermostat's put in upside down,
backwards,
backwards.
that's the reason why the car overheated and blew the head gaskets.
What say you to that?
Okay, I had a complaint that the car was overheating, so I brought it into the shop, let it run for, half an hour, got it good and warm, listened to the fan cycle and everything, and it was not doing anything that he said. It was not overheating or nothing like that, so I called him up.
Most people don't bring a car to the shop
I
unless
understand
it's
that,
doing
so I
what they-
called
but
them
you
up,
could
said-
not duplicate customer complaint.
That's what I told him. I
Right.
couldn't duplicate your concern. So my only thought was the thermostat could have stuck or something. And he agreed to that, and he agreed to put a thermostat in it, which I did. Ran the car again, let it thermocycle, let the fan run as it should, road tested it for about 2 miles, and everything was fine. Called him, he picked it up, and he left. And about maybe 10, 15 minutes later, came back, said it was still overheating. So I said it could be any number of things, but without further looking, I don't know. So we agreed it might be a water pump or something like that.
But why were we saying it was a water pump?
Because it was overheating and water not circulating.
Okay.
And there's many reasons for that. Was just one that I haven't.
Well, were you able to duplicate the customer's complaint that the car was overheating?
The second time, no.
Well, the first time were you?
No.
How long do you feel like you have to drive it before you can duplicate the customer complaint? Is 2 miles enough?
After letting it idle for 15 minutes, yeah, I assume 2 miles should be plenty.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Why is it that when you take your car to a mechanic for a problem, you can never duplicate the problem when they're looking at it? Why is that? You're nodding. It's happened to you, I can tell.
It has happened to me, yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think it's when you,
Why? I mean, it happens all the time until you take it in. I don't understand the karma of this.
Well, I guess it's because you think of everything else and you should have said it. You should have said the problem.
I feel I'm in no better shape right now than I was when I first asked the question, going inside the courtroom.
I told him it could be the water pump, but without looking, I don't know.
Did you charge him for the water pump?
I didn't charge him because I did not find the problem.
Okay.
I said, the car's not overheating now, and I'm not sure, what the reason is. If you can leave it, I'll look further into it. But he insisted he could not leave it. He had to go back home to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And he said, "Do you think I'll make it?" I says, "I don't know. That's a gamble."
All right. So according to his mechanic, if you can see the spring, it's not in right, the thermostat.
Okay, that's very difficult to see what that picture is, but
Well, that's a spring.
and it certainly doesn't look like a new thermometer, a new thermostat either. It looks like that could be a
All
picture.
I see is a spring.
That could be a picture of anything. I have no idea what it is.
Well, that's a spring, though. I'm seeing a spring, right? Is it true that if the spring is showing, then the thermostat is not put in right?
Okay, if the thermostat is installed backward, you won't go 5 miles without overheating.
All right. Now, what did you end up doing with the car? You ended up trading it in,
Yes,
but
because-
not before paying $1,560.04 for the repairs.
Yes.
So you're suing today for what you paid for the thermostat because it didn't work.
Right.
A car rental of 1 day,
2 days.
2 days to get the car repaired. The repairs that you paid the new mechanic, and then you're also suing for $1,192.80 for inconvenience and aggravation.
Yes.
Okay, what's that about?
Well, I had a lot of inconvenience and a lot of aggravation.
So do I. Nobody's paying me for it. Do you ever think in your lives that you would find yourself at this stage in front of Judge Milian from the People's Court?
No.
No.
And I watch you every night.
Like you watch me too, right?
No, I can't say that.
Yeah, just say it anyway.
Occasionally.
Just say it anyway. All right. I am going to find, based on what I've heard and the pictures I saw and the catastrophe you endured. However, I'm not going to award you inconvenience and aggravation. That's not really a cause of action. This is a contracts case, really. It's like I hired you to do something and you did something else and it caused me damage, so he needs to make you whole, but not like there's no punitives in something like this. So the thermostat, the rental, and the repairs, which is a total of $1,760.10. That's my verdict. Verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
Well, the plaintiff does indeed prevail in this case. Mr. Babula, the defendant, and the mechanic for 50 years, right?
Yes.
I got to tell you something. There are a lot of mechanics out there probably watching this right now, and his mechanic claimed you put the thermostat in backwards. What do you think? Is that right or not?
If it was in backwards, he wouldn't drive 10 miles without a problem.
So that other mechanic is wrong by saying that, right?
That's.
And do you think all the repairs he had done to his car were necessary then?
No, I think they probably were necessary, but they obviously weren't done right. The car didn't run fine after that.
But it really wasn't caused by the thermostat being in backwards, and that's your assessment. All right, I love what all the mechanics out there are saying right now. Oh, he's right, he's wrong. Okay, sorry about this. You lost the case.
No
okay,
problem.
Thank you very much. You must sign some documents out there with our Officer McIntosh. Mr. Panigliano? Hey. How do you feel about the outcome now?
Oh, I feel great.
Okay. You still think it was the thermostat in backwards?
Yes.
Pretty sure of that?
I'm positive.
All right. He's got 60 years of experience, 50 years. I just gave him one more time.
I'm sure he's a very good mechanic,
Yep.
but we all make mistakes.
All righty. Well, you won. Congratulations.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Harvey, let's hear your opinion on this case.
Here's the deal, Doug. You can never sue for emotional upset when it's based on a breach of contract. Period.